Hello everyone, back tuning in today's video doing JMA Friday. As always on a Friday, we're having a look at where the month ahead, and this is going to take us into the start of November actually, so we'll be going just about to the final month of the autumn of 2017 with this update. Of course, had rather a cool September. October, it's been chilly last night, was pretty cold. The next few days going to be a bit warmer. We'll see what the CFS V2 and Japanese models are showing for rest of October into start of November in today's video. So we'll start off with the JMA, and then we'll have a look at the CFS V2. This is the latest 500mm height anomaly from the JMA model for the next week. These broke down to week periods, takes us from the 6th through to the 13th of October. Blue is extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure, and yellow, orange and red extrapolates to above average heights at 500 millibars, which is high pressure. So for the coming week, we find that we've got an area of below average heights up to our north, also extending out to the east as well. Then we've got an area of above average heights out in the Atlantic and down to the southwest of the country, and the jet stream doing something a bit like that. So a lot of dry weathering with that, I would have thought. We're blocking off the Atlantic quite a bit, not totally losing the influence of the jet stream. It is October, so there will be some influence from the jet stream, always mostly in the north, but for the south, and particularly the southwest, probably a reasonable amount of dry weather. And I would have thought quite mild as well overall. We have got the jet stream more or less to the north of the country. So we go through to week 2, which is the 13th through to the 20th of October, and we find above average heights then are down to our southwest, below average heights up to the north and also to the northeast. Very little change from week 1 to week 2, except probably a little bit more influence from the jet stream and from those areas of below average heights. So I think it's a more unsettled week, still the same basic setup, which is high pressure to the southwest, low pressure to the northwest, but probably a bit more unsettled, if anything, particularly so, but not exclusively for northern parts of the country. And then weeks 3 and 4 takes us from the 20th of October to the 3rd of November, and this one is placing an area of below average heights to our east, which can sometimes be quite a cool signal, although we have got above average heights down across Spain and Portugal, otherwise not a huge amount else going on. So very difficult to ascertain what's happening there. We might be doing something a little bit like that. That's wrong. So let's say we're doing something a bit like that. We're bringing up the air from the southwest, courtesy of this ridge down across Spain and Portugal. So that would be mild for the end of October. But with this trough over Scandinavia, that also might be bringing down the wind from a northerly direction, or possibly even in from a northeasterly direction, which of course is going to be quite cold. So really difficult there to ascertain what's going to happen through those through that week 3 and 4 period. Remember, this is a 2-weekly anomaly, so it's possible that you're getting something that's offsetting. We're offsetting one another. Maybe week 3 has the influence from the high pressure across Spain and Portugal, and it's dragging up mild air for week 3. And then week 4 has influence from the trough to the east over Scandinavia, brings winds down from much colder northeasterly direction. Could be something like that, a transitional period. So it's always very difficult with these 2-weekly anomalies to work out exactly what is going on there, because the high pressure over Spain and Portugal, the above average heights that we have here, is really at odds with the trough of below average heights to the east-northeast. Normally when you have high pressure down here, you should be having low pressure around here, and you should be bringing in the wind from the west-southwesterly direction. So I am at a bit of a loss there with the high pressure there, but the low pressure there. They kind of don't agree with one another. So I suspect there is a kind of a transitional period going on there from week 3 to week 4. That's the only way I can re-explain the differences in the two air masses that we see. Let's have a look at the tropical mid-latitude view from the JMA, see if we can work out what's going on. So, we come back to week 1, first of all, this 500 millibar high anomaly for week 1, British Isles, top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. Of course, a reminder of the week 1 height anomaly. We've got above average heights out to our west-southwest, with below average heights up to the north, like that. And the jet stream is doing something a little bit like that. It does look quite a cool signal, by the way, for much of Eastern Europe. So this is from the 6th to the 13th. We find the precipitation anomaly is coming out drier than average. We are in for quite a dry week in the week ahead, which you would expect because we are blocking off the Atlantic and sending the jet stream to the north. Temperature anomalies are a little bit milder than average for the week ahead as well. Notice much of Europe is coming out quite cool, but for the UK, we are on the milder side of the jet there from the 6th to the 13th of October. So reasonably dry and mild in the week ahead. Very little change for week 2, which is the 13th to the 20th of October. We have, again, the above average heights to our southwest, but there is a bit more influence from the jet stream from low pressure to the north and northeast. So doing something rather like that. It means that the precipitation anomaly is increasing. It's a more unsettled week here for the middle of October, with rainfall anomalies generally going a little bit above average. Temperature anomalies are looking like this. Close to average, possibly hints at a bit cooler than average out to our west, but I think it's close to average, maybe even still a little bit on the milder than average side. And then we move through to that very complicated pattern that we have for weeks 3 and 4. Takes us from the 20th of October to the 3rd of November. Yes, we have got above average heights around Iberia, around Spain and Portugal, which is normally quite a mild signal, but we've also got this area of below average heights, which you can't really see, but we know it's there across Scandinavia and extending down into, let's say, northern Germany and Denmark. That is sometimes quite a cool signal. So the precipitation anomaly, that's coming out above average here for the end of October and into the start of November. So it is looking like quite an unsettled period. What about the temperatures? So those temperatures are still coming out close to average, possibly even a little bit on the milder than average side. So a relatively mild month coming up, starting off quite dry and then turning more unsettled. Bear in mind there is a lot of confusion about those week 3 and 4 500 millibar height anomalies. That's the JMA. Let's have a look at CFS V2. So this is the 500 millibar height anomaly for the next week, the 6th through to the 12th of October with CFS V2. We find that we've got above average heights out to our west, extending up like that, below average heights to our east. And it's a complicated pattern, but we're doing something a little bit like that with the flow and with the jet stream. So a lot of dry weather, again, blocking off the Atlantic, fairly high pressure dominated, reasonably dry, and temperatures probably close to average. Then we go through to week 2, which is the 13th to the 19th of October. Below average heights then to our north, above average heights to our south. That's a classic westerly type situation. Probably still reasonably dry down in the south, a little bit more unsettled up to the north, and I would have thought that's pretty mild as well. Moving through to week 3, which is the 20th to 26th of October. Nice build of pressure then close to the UK, so this is indicating a lot of dry weather really for October, actually looking reasonably settled with below average heights up to the north. And it also looks mild as well as we drag the air up from a west-southwesterly direction. So a lot of mild and dry weather there. And then week 4, which is the 27th of October to the 2nd of November. Bit of a change. It looks like it's turning more unsettled. Low pressure, below average heights, low pressure to the north of Scotland. Above average heights pulling out into the central part of the Atlantic. And also over here means that we're probably doing something a bit like that with the flow and with the jet stream. That could be a rather cooler and more unsettled end to October and into start of November. Temperature anomalies for the next week are coming out milder than average, as CFS V2, as they are for week 2 as well. This is the 13th to the 19th of October. That's coming out milder than average. Also, week 3, temperature anomalies from the 20th, 26th of October, looking very mild indeed. So we are in for a milder than average month, if this is right, from the CFS V2. And then week 4 rounds it all off. I thought that might be a little bit cooler, but the 27th of October, 2nd of November, that's coming out milder than average as well. So after what was quite a coolish September, we are seeing signs of a flip here for October and resuming very mild temperatures. Moving through to the precipitation finally. So week 1 precipitation anomalies on the drier than average side, quite significantly so in the west and the southwest. Week 2, bit of a north-south split then. It's a bit wetter than average for Scotland, but England and Wales average to possibly hinting at a bit drier than average. Week 3 also looks quite dry, so a mild dry October coming up if this is right, following a rather cool and wet September. Quite interesting how that's happened. And then week 4 rounds it all off, 27th of October to the 2nd of November, and it's just really average with the precipitation. I think by then we've lost a signal, but I would have thought, given the height anomaly, it probably is turning rather wetter. So it's complicated, this. It looks like we've got good agreement for the first 2 weeks, which is for a lot of dry and reasonably mild weather coming up into the second half of October. So, mild and dry in second half of October. I think fairly good agreement between the JMA and CFS V2 for that. The end of October and into the start of November is open to a bit of doubt due to the uncertainty within the 2 models. They're not really in agreement for how we finish up around weeks 3 and particularly week 4. It may turn cooler and more unsettled, I think, as we get through to the end of October and into the start of November. That's a very long way off of these models, and it is really subject to change. In the more immediate future, certainly the next couple of weeks, up to mid-month, probably extending beyond mid-month, it does look reasonably mild overall and quite dry at times as well. So really quite pleasant conditions for this coming period. Right, tomorrow it's the weekend forecast, so come back for that. We'll also have a look tomorrow evening at the CANSIPS model for the next 6 months. Haven't done one of those for a very long time. You'll see what CANSIPS is predicting tomorrow evening for the next 6 months. That covers the full winter period as well, of course. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.